Hello Zulu Nation and hello Black South Africa. I'm Gesetoza Park. I'm redoing a video I had done last week, but I had to delete it because I needed space so that I can videorize the matches I was going to attend in town. Awe mash and nophakela umthakathi nongizwe kanjalo. So let me redo the video. The video was saying when I was sitting here last week, what is the reason why the people who are leading these marches to save and free South Africa are Zulus, are Zulus? Alright, it doesn't just happen. There's a reason behind it, and it's not something that was set in a conference to be decided. It is a God-appointed purpose, because Zulus are anointed leaders by creation. Same way that Americans are leaders of the free world, so same way that Jewish people are leaders of all nations of the earth as appointed by God. So in certain areas, God has got a similar system where He has people appointed to be leaders. It's not just individuals; it is also nations, all right, or cities, or etc., etc. So hence we've got capital cities. Those are cities which lead. So even in terms of nations, there are nations which lead, and there are nations who are supposed to be led, but usually the ones that are supposed to be led usually have envy and hate the ones who are ordained to lead. Okay, so that's the first factor. It is spiritual into physical. It's a spiritual into physical reason, because everything starts with God at the end of the day. So that's the major reason why Zulus are leaders, because South Africa's identity before God is on the premise of the leopard. The leopard is the identity of the Zulu. So if you want to see South Africa in the Bible, you can read Isaiah chapter 18. It's speaking about South Africa as Kush, led by Zulus. All right, the Kush is basically it's the Nguni and the likes. Basotho and other groups are not necessarily Kush. All right, so but they are of the sons of Ham as well. So Kush is the leader in South Africa, and Kush is headed by the Zulu. All right, so that is why it's the Zulu who are heading or these marches. And actually it is the Zulus who have always led. All right, be they that we lead from the front or from behind, but the leader of South Africa has been the Zulu people. So whatever bad stuff that has happened to Black South Africa, it has been caused by the failure of good leadership by the Zulu people. Whatever good that has happened to South Africa has happened because of good leadership from Zulu people. Yes, it doesn't mean other people are not doing their lot, but the actual state of South Africa as a country is because of those who are appointed to be leaders thereof, be they church leaders, economic leaders, financial leaders, education leaders, be it political leaders, kings, princes, leaders of thought, or celebrities, all right, and then be it leaders of nations, as in a nation that leads other nation, all right, or which leads other nations, all right. The prosperity and success of white people, Bure, into South Africa has been because of the failure of the Zulu to defend and protect the nation. And we can see how this happens today, because Zulu leaders have got an ego problem which seeks to be praised by foreign people or distant people or other South African nations at the expense of the Zulu people. So in the same way that they seek to be praised by Cyril Ramaphosa and seek to be praised by other people, they seek to be praised by white capital, and therefore they compromise a lot of things or instead of fighting for what is urgent in terms of the Zulu nation and therefore Black South Africans. What is urgent for us is supposed to have been economic transformation and land redress. And I'm not speaking talk points of the EFF and them. I hate the EFF and I have never been ANC. So, right. So, just so that I clear that one quickly before I get confused as EFF or ANC. And I detest the DA. So, all those three political organizations I abhor. They are the enemies of Black South Africa, all right, or of Black South African natives. So however, the people who are really going to account for the state of South Africa in terms of nation to nation, well, the Zulu nation is the leaders of the Zulu nation are going to account before God for failing Zulu people and therefore Black South Africans, and allowing or even empowering the DA colonialists, whether they call it a GNU, whatever. That thing would not have passed, or rather would have been toothless if Zulus had not participated in it. So they bribed egotistical Zulu leaders of the Inkatha Freedom Party to participate in that sellout sea, which protects the interests of white liberal or white capital at the expense of the already malnourished and suffering and poverty-stricken Zulus and Black South Africans. All right. So the South African public is not a priority at all. When the IFE goes out, like Cyril Ramaphosa and them, they are prioritizing protecting interest of white people and Indian people, which is, as they call it, South African economy. What is South Africa's economy without Black South African natives? That is not South Africa's economy. It is a foreign economy that operates within SA borders. It is a looting economy of the West, and also now joined by the new colonialists. Well, they were there before white colonialists arrived, but they are coming back now. The Arab colonizers stroke, what are they? Muslims. Muslims are new colonizers. All right. So it's the Arab Muslim colonizers now. They're back because those are the people who destroyed our ancestors. It's like 1,000 years ago, which is how we lost our civilization, lost information. You can see when you're narrating history that there are gaps, there are periods of history which are not explicable. Why they are not explicable is because there is information lost, because large populations of our people, of our ancestors, were massacred and killed and genocided by the Arabs during the Islamic expansion period after Muhammad, up to possibly that thing lasted up to 1100. So there's a gap of information, because there clearly were a lot of people who got massacred and genocided during that period, hence the missing years in terms of information. So now, these are issues which were supposed to be safeguarded, learning from the history in the past, then also what has happened to South Africa, apartheid not being the major really issue that happened in South Africa. The major issue was colonialism, which is actually back with a bang via the DA, because the DA represents European interests, same way the DP in the USA represents European interests. There are two groups there in the USA. There's the whites there's the group which is Republicans, there's the group which is Democrats. Originally, Republicans were conservatives who are defenders of the country, the patriots, and liberals were always invaders, colonialists who came for the money, same as the DA here in South Africa. So unfortunately, the lines have been straddled now with deep state in issues, and therefore you no longer see much of a distinction between the liberals and the conservatives. just the same way here in South Africa, where you find conservative whites voting for the liberal DA. How are they doing that? Because they're supposed to know that liberals are wicked, evil devils who are destroying the world. When it comes to European countries, they understand the evils of white liberals there. But when it is in South Africa, they protect the DA. They know that the DA is a liberal organization, a very evil organization. So why are they defending them? Why are they not at least Freedom Front Plus, but toned down on the Nazism or racism? All right. They've got every right to self-preserve as white people, but not by applying racism and all these other isms that they use to maintain white superiority. We don't need white superiority. We need a country that is led by the people God placed in this country as inheritors of this land, all right, which are black South African natives. All right, that is some of, and then, all right, leading the country but protecting the minorities, not to rule over us. But what is happening is that we're seeing this the so-called well, we don't have a South African Human Rights Commission. That thing is a foreigners. It's like NGOs of George Soros. Those things are invaders of our land. They're supposed to be charged with treason, shot to death. They're supposed to die. All right. It's not. Well, it's easy for police to shoot my Zulu people. 350 young, good-looking people just died in Phoenix, and it was nobody's business. So if it is that easy to shoot Zulus, then why aren't they shooting these wicked, treasonous punks who are all over our country? Whether especially the white ones, then the black foreigners and them. Why are they immune? Why is it easy to shoot black South Africans, especially Zulus? All right, so, but all in all, I'm saying, okay, I know I'm speaking about many things at the same time. I'm just saying, the people who are failing us are the Zulu people. Hence, God is raising the Zulu people to save us, because also, remember, I once said some 3 years ago, I said, okay, the Zulu leaders don't give a damn about Zulu people, and they don't give a damn about anybody except their names and their egos. I said, in the absence of kings and ever since our truly patriotic monarch died in questionable ways, King Goodwill, the reality is that we find ourselves headless. And therefore I said, I think when God comes to save us, he's going to use a commoner, a person outside politics, or who is not a political leader, who is not a king or induna, to lead us. Because these people are supposed to be leading us are not leading us. They are busy worshipping white people. All right, and when you go to KZN, not just white people that these Zulu leaders worship, they also worship Indians. All right, there would be an outcry, and Tamintuli would attend the funeral of 7 murdered Indian people. Did he attend massacres of murdered Zulu people, or rather funerals of massacred Zulu people? I doubt. All right. In any case, he loves attacking his Zulus to prove himself to his white masters. Those are insecure people that are not supposed to be leaders. You can't have a leader like that. All right. So now Zulus are leading because of God's appointment. And then let me be short on the other reasons. Because I've now consumed far longer time than I intended. The second reason why Zulus are leading is because they are the most affected nation by open borders, which exactly is directed against the Zulu people. Hence the GNU itself is directed against the Zulu people. Whether they make as if they are attacking the MK party, no, the attack is against the Zulu nation. The white people going all the way back, say let's go to 1879 at least, they've always fronted certain black nations and Indians as a buffer between themselves and the Zulu people. And they in the economics of South Africa, they've always ensured that Zulu people don't arise and shine. They have always buffered using other nations, small nations like the Venda, the Pedi, and the likes. Those were kitchen boys nations, and now today they're using the Shona and therefore Zimbabweans for the same purposes. It's been the same formula when you're dealing with a white capital. It always uses certain black people or Indians to buffer away from the nations that they are intent at keeping low in the economic scale. Why do white people fear Zulus being wealthy, therefore ensure that we don't get employed, ensure that our businesses do not prosper? And why does the ANC or the ANC black nations, which are preferred by whites, why do they also do the same? Because one, the black nations are envious, they hate the Zulu people. It's a question where when God has appointed you as a leader, your brothers hate you, all right? Like King David, like King Jesus had no good relations with his brothers and sisters, the same way as Joseph, and many other examples. Joseph, who was loved by his father, but then the entire family hated him, all right? So they even sold him to the Ishmaelites, who took him to our Africa, where he led led Egypt at that time. It was black Egypt. The Egyptians were black. All right. So the hatred, the envy, is the reason behind those smaller nations, local nations, and even these black foreigners. They get easily used by white people as a result, because they justify their envy as if it is survival at the premise of being threatened by the larger group, which is what as human rights also is premised upon, to fakely protect minorities by imposing them over majorities. Because all that is happening in terms of the rights is the continuation of what people said they were complaining against regarding the Bure, where they said the minority was ruling over the majority, but nothing changed. Nothing changed. The minorities are still ruling over majorities. Venda petty little nations are being imposed over Zulu able and highly passing people. Black foreigners are being imposed on black South African natives. Gays and lesbians are being imposed over straight people. White people continue enjoying the minority statuses because it makes you to be a victim automatically, and the larger by number to be the aggressor for doing nothing. Just because we exist, then we are wrong because we exist as large in number. So the Zulu people are the largest, so therefore we are guilty because we are many. All right, so that's what liberalism stroke socialism does. It makes wicked people to be victims and therefore impose them over the actual victims, who are no longer victims just because we are many. So therefore minorities get away with a lot of genocide, a lot of murder and all the stuff because of that privilege that a minority people have. So that is what is happening. So now Zulus are therefore the number one people faced with the pangs of open borders as a result of the formulation of white capital called the South African economy, which is not. It has always been white economy, representing European interests. It was always formed around migrant labor, thus indentured Indian laborers and them. And when Zulu people tried to be masters of the economy by our own might, because we had a self-sustained economy which the English came to destroy intentionally, and using Basotho at that stage in 1879. Basotho fought on behalf of, or on the sides with the English to destroy Zulu economics, Zulu families, Zulu society, and the Zulu kingdom at large, so that we can be laborers of white people. And you can see what the English people did. They rewarded the Basotho with our land and also gave them a country, a puppet country called Lesotho. They did the same for their other helpers. the Swazis, all right, hence the Swaziland. They ensured that Zulus don't have a country. They ensured. Instead, they came up with poll tax and all those taxes, hard tax, exactly to destroy the Zulu economy. All right. So the people they've been guarding are the Zulu people. So it's Zulu people who have been feeling the pangs through and through, because it is the Zulus who are guarded. All right. So there's many initiatives we made in this country, and they all have been taken away from us. And then these things are done as if like it's to make equality. What is equality in any case? And then, but this equality is always about taking things away from Zulus and giving it to others. So we formed the ANC. They took the ANC from us and they gave it to Basotho and the Xhosa. We formed Amawasha, a private company where we self-employed to 1,100 men from Ngutu. In 1890 onwards, they put laws to drive out to drive us out of Johannesburg City, and they gave our businesses to Indians, took forts back and and Mayfair away from Zulu people and gave it to Indians. So they took exactly our business and gave it to Indians. So the Indians became their buffer. To this day, Indians are used as buffers by the white race. They promote them to be supervisors over black people. It is intentional, but the main people that they are guarding against are Zulu people. Remember, Indians never ever pass high school better than Zulu people. Neither do white people pass high school better than Zulu people, but they use this economic power and the courts that they own to ensure that they subjugate Zulu people all the time, give minimal prosperity or success there and there to kind of cancel the agenda, but they ensure that Zulu people do not prosper. There are no Zimbabweans who are more educated than Zulu people, but all over the place you're finding Zimbabweans there, and then you can see these evils, because even when there's educated people who are marching, those doctors who are unemployed, they are predominantly Zulu. I would say 90% of them are Zulu. Those unemployed nurses are predominantly Zulu. Those unemployed teachers are predominantly Zulu. A teacher from UKZN is without a job, but a Zimbabwean from the University of Harare has got a job. UKZN is far superior than UKZN. I mean, UKZN is far superior than any university in Malawi and Zimbabwe and Nigeria. So how are those people preferred teachers over Zulu people? All right. So these are things which are engineered intentionally. So the people who feel the brunt of this the most are always the Zulu people first, before other black nations feel them. Because, for instance, the Venda people will be the last to feel these pains, because first they are the preferred nation. So therefore, they've got far more jobs than Zulu people have. Zulu people are sitting at 70% unemployment rate, and they're being purged of. Remember, we ran markets, we ran the taxi industry, we were purged, they got shot and killed and everything, just to replace us with better black nations of the ANC. So things which happened here in Soweto and the likes. But even in Katlehong, Thokoza, if you remember, the violence there had a taxi violence factor brought into it. That was done by the ANC. The target, even by the ANC, was the Zulu nation. Hence, the ANC ensured that Zulus of the IFP and Zulus of the ANC fight together and kill each other. In that total of 26,000 people who were murdered during during violence between 1976 and 1994, the majority of people, I would say even 80% of people who died, they are Zulus or are black. Because most violence was in Zulu areas or in KwaZulu-Natal for that matter. That was intentionally done because their target is always the head. If you want to conquer a place, you come and bind the strong man. A Christian will understand what I'm speaking about. So that is why white people, in order to take this inheritance which is not theirs, they had to bind the Zulu people, because they are the strong men who are supposed to be guarding even this country or leading this country in terms of its prosperity. So if you want to then take that country, you've got to focus on that one who has been anointed to lead, bind him, and then you take over. So that is why Zulus are leading even now, because their brand is upon Zulus. Before a Venda person can feel the pain, a Zulu man has felt the pain 20 times already. All right, so that is why we are leading. You can see Malema hates Zulus. As I always said that long time ago, I said this man is a typical Pedi or Limpopo tribalist. I can hear the undertones when he's speaking because I am a Sowetan. I grew up exposed to all nations, and I grew up in Musutu in terms of, because we left Soweto during ANC violence of the 80s, and I went to study in Kwakwa. So and before we went to stay in Kwakwa, where I was groomed up in Musutu, I was staying in Chiawelo, where we were playing with vendor kids because their parents never associated with our parents by their own choice. Our parents were free people who invited everybody. The Limpopo people love isolating and segregating themselves and blaming us for it. All right, so, but again, the kids, we played together. So I was very fluent in Chivenda. My sister passed on, having stayed in KwaZulu-Natal for more than 25 years, but she was still as fluent in Chivenda. I'm not good with languages. If I'm no longer using a language, I tend to forget. I don't have the intelligence of languages. But right now, I speak isiZulu, English, South Sotho fluently. I hear all other Sotho languages. I hear all other Nguni languages. I hear Chivenda say up to 20 to 25%. I hear Shangan up to say 15% and the likes. All right, so I'm kind of like conversant to that degree with the different languages. So I know the undertones, I know the stereotypes, I know when a person is standing at the podium undermining a Zulu in terms of lingo without mentioning the Zulu. I can hear that because I'm a Sowetan, or I'm a person who grew up in a cosmopolitan area with different cultures, and I know when a person is a tribalist from Limpopo when they're speaking. I know Ramaphosa hates Zulus. I think he's a Malawian as well, just like Malema. You can discern this. You can't discern this if you are a Zulu or the Zulu monarch who is still calling for Zulus to get married to other nations. What does he mean? What does he mean? We are Zulus, Zulus are not only in Nongoma, please. So we Zulus outside KZN have always, or even Zulus in KZN, have always gotten married to non-Zulus. You can go to Bergville. There's a lot of Sutu Makotis there. So what is he trying to imply? He's trying to please Limpopo people ngati ukuthi we don't want to learn other people's languages. King Mrs. Zulu, can you be a king of the Zulu people? Not Ramaphosa's king, please. Thank you. We have suffered a lot as Zulu people in Gauteng under the hands of Venda people. Just in 1990, before 1994, Venda people were the apartheid police and the Malawians in them. So we suffered under those. We got segregated out of our towns and cities. We were not wanted here in Johannesburg. There's hardly any Zulu who won't have this story to tell you. Ngenkathi amavenda nabantu basemalawi benikeziwe izindlu la eGoli, Zulus were being kicked out of Johannesburg, though we were not even an independent homeland. Kuthiwa buyele ekhaya awunayo idompass. The police who were doing that were Venda people. You are mocking, or rather you are empowering Venda people. Ngati. You're listening to talk points of Ramaphosa, the Zulu hater. Haikona King Mrs. Zulu. Haikona. Anyway, thanks to Phakelum Takati Ngizwe Mchunu. Thanks especially ku Sisu Jacinta Ngobese. Siyazibongela kakhulu. Thanks to Oxolani Khumalo, siyabonga kubo bonke nabaholi abasiholayo kwimanje to fight for this country. I thank you for your spirit as well to try and saving all South Africans, even the South Africans who hate Zulu people and never have anything good to say about us. Thank you for reaching out to them to save them as well. So I thank you for encouraging my Batswana people. Batswana people also took care of me because we worked in Krugerstop. Thanks for saving the Batswana. I asked Batswana never to be ANC again. I told you once I was there from the 90s to the 2000s that what the hell are you doing in the ANC? I questioned you. Kagiso, Mansfield, Swaneville, Mohlakeng, I questioned you. Up to Rustenburg, up to Taung, I questioned you. Look at what has happened. I told you the ANC is going to do this to you. Now they are replacing you with foreigners in your spouses and all the other businesses. Come on, people. But thanks, Abutitum Kimankitumi. I don't know Tswana, I have always spoken Sotho. For this war that he are staging against foreigners to reclaim Kasi economics, Ralewa Muhadi, and then do so. Let's intensify this war. And thanks for Abu Jacinta to encouraging the Botswana, because those are mighty warriors. Botswana are effective in a war, like Basotho and Zulu. We need such great warriors in solidarity together against white capital, against black foreign mass migration, against Asians, against Muslims. All these wars that are waged against us and against the South African government, which is against us, and its police and its armies, security systems and them. We need to fight for ourselves. We've got nobody fighting for us. The courts are not of courts of justice. They are captured by the DA. White capital is the real estate capture since 1879. Whatever Zuma was doing in terms of state capture, he possibly was trying to capture the state away from the actual state capturers, who are white people. So we got duped there and thought, I Zuma this and that. Although I was never that much into that, I was against Zuma only for the nuclear deal, as to why he was giving that to Russians, because we've got the capability to do nuclear energy ourselves. Hence Bure built Kubek in the Western Cape. So that was my only argument, but I never bought this thing of blaming Zuma for the ANC, since it felt the usual thing, scapegoat the Zulu, because that has been the practice of favored black nations of the ANC on behalf of their white capturers. So thanks to all warriors fighting for us. I know there are names I'm forgetting. Mlungisi Kamancinza, Zondi, thank you sir, and many others I may not be counting. Thanks to the hero esinayo eTshwane, usisi kusho yo ubani me yazi ngiyalazi igama lakho, ngiyaxolisa dokotela wami. I don't mean badly. I love Pretoria. That's my favorite city. In terms of the CBD, I enjoy Pretoria, but it was painful to see the fall of that mighty city. So thanks for the great works you are doing there as the mayor. God bless Action SA. God bless MK Party. God bless certain people within the IFP, not the whole IFP. The IFP is captured. As long as you are in the GNU, you are captured. You can't be fighting against illegals, because GNU is about the protection of white interests. So white interest is the reason why foreigners are here. So they are. It's the DA which is driving open borders. Forget about the ANC. Those are just usable little idiots. The black faces being fronted, so that we do not focus on the actual masters behind them. The DA, white liberals, are behind open borders. Plus, they are Jewish partners. I am not a Jewish hater. You can call me anti-Semite if you want, but I've always defended Israel and the rights of Jews to their land in the same way. I have got no hypocrisy of Jewish people. In the same way I defend Israel that belongs to Israelites, I defend KwaZulu, which belongs to Zulus. South Africa does not belong to Jews. Israel does. The economy of South Africa must take care of South Africans first. All right, not Jewish people first. You will benefit, but we can't be starved in order for your elites to loot everything for their New World Order agenda, because you are driving that. That's what open borders is all about. It comes from Europe, between white liberals and their Jewish partners. All right, so that's what they are doing, and you are destroying our nations, calling it unification. If you believe in that kind of unification, you as Jews are not supposed to be staying separate in Jewish Johannesburg. How about you come and mix with us here in Soweto and show us that unity that you are speaking about? So you are hypocrites. So I don't like hypocrisy. I see it is detestable. I understand why Jesus couldn't stand Pharisees. Hypocrisy stinks. It's got nothing to do with God. It is wicked to the core. All right. So but I support Jewish people. I even stand with Netanyahu, whom you as Jewish liberals hate. I love Netanyahu for defending his country, for thwarting Hamas. Hamas has been enabled into my South Africa by the DA, your DA. Cyril Ramaphosa is supported by the DA, your DA. DA is Jews and whites. So whoever is taking Israel to the ICJ, it is you as Jews and whites of the DA who are behind Cyril Ramaphosa. So you are using our country, fronting these black idiots for your European wars. It is you who genocided Jewish people, not us. You're still fighting those wars, masking yourselves behind our black faces, those black ANC idiot faces. Black Africans, we as Kush, have got no enmity with Israel. Not in our history, ever. Thank you. So bese ngidlula ke lapho ngifika kanjani lapho? Okay, ingoba ngikhuluma ngama open border. Okay, let me close this here and say to all our Zulu heroes fighting for this country, from Eguruleni to KwaZulu-Natal, who went to encourage our Xhosa people to join with us and stop telling us about our foreskins and telling us goodbye better than us. Now at least fight